Hey guys, it's Wednesday. It's a really good Wednesday too. I can't wait to share with you all. Ooh, I'm so warm. I should have turned on my AC. Should have turned it up. Hey, hello. How is everyone? Y'all, it's Wind Down Wednesday. Hold up. Rosé. I hope you have your rosé. You can have your Kool-Aid, you can have your Pepsi, whatever you want. But I have a rosé, and I'm so excited to kick it with you guys. So, it is Wind Down Wednesday. It is that time of the week where we take a moment to luxuriate in all things travel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Orion Brown. I am the founder and CEO. Hey, Miss Jasmine. I am the founder and CEO of Black Travel Box. We're a personal care products company for travelers of color. Whoop, whoop. And so we do Wind Down Wednesday each week and I'm trying to just pull something up really quick. We do Wind Down Wednesday each week so we can just kick it. Oh, and great, our guest is here. Sip and share wine. Thank you. Oh, did y'all see my weave? It's not even a weave. This is a crochet, and this sucker is full Rapunzel. Hello.
I didn't know if I'm supposed to jump in right now.
Totally jump in. How are you?
I am well.
I am so glad you're able to join us. So I'm just doing a quick intro. So for those of you who are wondering what I'm looking at, I rarely have my computer open for this, but this is a very interesting day, and it's going to be interesting for wind downs going forward for at least the next few weeks because I'm in Target's Accelerator, their Forward Founders program. And so they decided every Tuesday night and every Wednesday night, this is what I'm doing. And I'm like, all right, cool. But time out, I'm going to bust out for like 45 minutes, do what I do, and then I'll be back. So, hey, and I see that glass of wine. Boop. Love it. Cheers.
Yes, cheers.
So, and I'm so excited you're here with us, Nicole. I'm super excited. I am, so our format is normally, we will start out, and y'all, I'm like sweating over here. I'm like, it's been such a crazy day, but I'm in such a great mood, and I'm really happy. So, and for those of you who were asking about our campaign last week, campaign has extended. We're going for 60K on I Fund Women, and we're about 60% of the way there. So keep telling your friends about it. I'm really excited. Lots of great stuff going there. And I Fund Women just gave us money today, which is crazy. They were like, come on our live. We do this live every week. You should come and hang out on our live. And then I get on there and they're like, we're going to give a grant to Black Travel Box. So boop. Look at that.
Yes.
Look at God. So format, we normally do a quick intro so everybody can get to know our guests, and tilt your camera just a little bit so we can see you better. We lost your chin there. There we go.
Okay, there you go.
Yes. So tell everybody where you are, where you're from. Give us a little bit on the 9 to 5, and then we'd love to hear how many stamps do you have on your passport. It doesn't have to be exact, because people get real stressed and they're like, I tried to count them, but then I couldn't find the other book. And I'm like, no. Just roughly, how many places have you been?
So I'm Nicole Kearney, and I'm the vintner and founder of Sip and Share Wines. I live in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm from South Jersey, the only part of Jersey that counts, y'all. But no, I'm from South Jersey. I know, from the shore. And that's so South Jersey of me to say that. But
Like
born and raised by the shore,
South Jersey,
little small place outside of Fort Dix. Anybody knows where that is. Let me see. I think, my 9 to 5. This is my 9 to 5. 9 to 5, I make wine. So I'm a winemaker. I'm a founder. So that is what I do 9 to 5. And, I have a lot of stamps on my passport. Over 20. My dad did 3 tours of Europe, so I'm an Army brat. So I lived in Europe a lot, and I've traveled a lot of different countries. And then I've done a lot of a lot of the islands, and I just love to travel. So pre-COVID, that was, yeah, like part of my life. So I would probably say over 20 stamps. I've
That's
got like South Africa yet to go,
yeah.
and like the Grand Cayman Islands. So just a couple places left I still want to go.
You've been a good number of places, but you still have a bucket list.
I do.
Oh, that's
I do.
amazing. And you were an Army brat. So, like, tell us, like, does anything surprise you anymore since you've been so many places? Uh-oh.
I know. I
I
failed.
failed.
Okay, I'm back. I was like, I failed. Okay, there we go. I was like, technical difficulty. Now you can really see me. Okay, go ahead.
Totally can see you. So, I mean, I would imagine moving around that much, that not that much really surprises you when you get to, like, are there places that you've been to that you've been like, oh, that's different? Or are you just sort of like, yeah, it's par for the course. Everything is everything.
When I go to the islands, I guess my first trip to the islands, I was really shocked by the level of poverty
Mm.
that was there. And so I think my first trip to an island was I went to Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico.
Oh,
I go there a lot. Yeah, I was just really, really surprised. But, and then we were able to kind of like go out of the resort area. And so unfortunately, a lot of Caribbean culture, I won't say cultures, but Caribbean economies are really set up on tourism. So, I mean, it can make for an interesting experience, but once you kind of manage through it, it's cool. It's cool. But that was probably my biggest shock. Now, I mean, I know that when I'm going to place, I want to go like off off the reservation, as they say.
Yeah. And you know what? You make a really good point, because my first time to the Caribbean, yeah, I had no clue. I had only seen, honestly, commercials, right? So it was sort of like there are resorts, and then like the rest of it's like suburbia, right? Or like a city.
Right.
And then you get there and you're like, okay, this is way more rural than I expected. This is way more poverty than I expected. And we're not that far from the United States, which hashtag American arrogance. Like, let's just be honest. That really is what that is, right? Because we kind of feel like, oh, well, everything is like the major city that I live in. Although some of those types of situations exist very well within
within our own country.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, but that's a really good point, and it's very interesting. I always encourage people, like, check out the socioeconomic history, talk to the people and their perspective of it, because it's very interesting when you see industries like sugarcane and banana that shifted the entire market economics. You look at countries like Haiti that had to pay reparations to France for not having slaves anymore, and you're like, wait, but that's not the way reparations go. That's how it went, and it put them in debt.
But that's how it went.
Depreciated their dollar. And then you look at places like Puerto Rico, which is a territory of the United States. And it's a territory, it's a colonized nation. Like, let's be honest. It is. And these are the kind of things that we have to really take a look at and educate ourselves on, so we can look sideways at people properly. And
right, because it's like, especially when you tell people you're going, you're like, that's a U.S. proper. Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah,
never mind.
But they can fight for us in wars, but they can't vote. Same thing with Guam.
Right.
Yeah, it's just to me, I'm just like, that whole island, I'd be on strike. But I understand, so it's very complex. But that's a really great point. Yes. It's a really stark thing, and I also make a point to get away from the resorts. I do like going to the resorts and tipping like I have no sense. Like, I love that. I'm like, put cash in the person's hand, put that in your pocket. You got a Venmo, boo? I got you.
Yes, that's the fun part, right? You can actually do a lot of that, and then you make some really good friends. And if it's a place you go back to every couple of years, they remember you. Yes. So it just elevates the experience, and every time you go back. So yes.
Totally. And one thing I will say, now this is my knock on like sort of American culture and service culture. When you go to these islands and they remember you from a couple years before, they have seen thousands of people, y'all. They have seen thousands of people, but they take the time to look you in the eye. They take the time to remember your name. They remember your kindness if you were kind. And I don't know what it's gonna look like if y'all were nasty to these folks. I don't know. You might get next.
Woo!
I don't know. I don't know. It's your business.
Right.
But it's a very different thing. Whereas, you know, you can go to places in the States and have just, you know, the most uncomfortable experience as a customer. And so there's something really interesting about the concept of tipping and what it's meant for and
Right.
how it rewards. And y'all can kick me if you want to. I don't just tip off cuff because, you know, there's something to be said for appreciating and having
Right.
gratitude for the role that you have, even if it's not the greatest, and making the most of it and being like, I'm gonna be the damn best at this.
The best. And it's something you chose to do. You know, maybe not that was the thing you want right, you know, in your life, but you chose it at that moment. So yeah, I agree with that. It's like we talk about that a lot, and it's interesting something you said. Like even something I talked to my team about. Like we don't use the word service because we found that that word, the connotation of that word, especially for non-melanated people, has created like this whole interesting debate over who is essential and who is not, but really over people who want to leave their homes to be served. I mean, that is what they want to do. They want to the
Mm-hmm.
country to be open the way they want it to be because they want to be served rather than it's hospitality. And that goes two ways. So when we think about hospitality, I'm hospitable to you, you're hospitable to
You
me.
see the white
And I
carpet, you
think
take your
just
shoes off.
yes, exactly. Or just when you go in someone's house, oh, do I take my shoes off? You know,
Yes.
is this your kind of house? Or, you know, what is it I need to do? So and then that's what we practice in our normal life. And I think that when we leave our homes, especially when we travel, everyone's supposed to serve us. No, 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 no. They're supposed to be hospitable. And so are we. Because your mama taught y'all better than that. And some of y'all grandmas taught y'all better than that. So when you out here in this world, treat people accordingly. And remember, you know, so I think that so for us, we speak about the hospitality industry. Even for us, we pour for the people. People are like, oh, are you serving wine? No, we don't serve anything.
Yes.
No, we pour wine, but we don't serve anything because just that. And we've had people come to us non-melanated, and I'm like, no, no, you're too happy about that. You just that serve for you just made you feel some kind of
Power.
way in your spirit. And I'm like, well, no, we don't serve people. We pour for the people. You know, we are out here, you know, in the hospitality industry, and so I think the shift of that, especially now as we're still, you know, in this quasi COVID, I think that shift and that conversation is really crucial because many people want people to come back and serve them. Oh, people don't want to come back to work. And because you want them to serve you versus, oh, if this hospitality industry was a lot better. So I encourage people like, I'm a reader. I'm a writer by trade and I'm a reader. And I believe it's Danny Meyer wrote a book.
Yes, I read it. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, so his book is about hospitality. I'm not going to remember the title, y'all, but it's about hospitality. And I think that everyone that's in the
I'll
industry,
look it
in
up.
any type of industry where you provide a service to
Mm-hmm.
people, you should read that book.
Setting the
It's just,
table. It's called Setting the
yes, that
Table. I cheated because I
setting the
have my
table.
laptop in front of me.
Yes, and it's an amazing book, or get an audio book. But yeah, anyone, if you're doing, I don't care if you're doing wine, food, I don't care what you're doing. If you're cleaning someone's carpets, you know, a daycare, I don't care what your thing is, just read that book or listen to
And
that
be
book because I'm just
hospitable.
saying it'll change your perspective of treating people. And it's just a great read. It's a great read. So it's one of my favorite books. I just tell people, my team, we're about to do a team read
Oh, I love it.
and read that and then like kind
It's
of bring it back and see what everybody gets out of it.
it's so good. It's so
It
good.
is.
And it really is what hospitality used to be in
Mm-hmm.
concept. Um,
Yes.
you know, when you go to someone's house and they're hospitable, you want to go back, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
but as you said, it's a two-way street, so you feel welcome in the place, but instantaneously a part of your brain goes to reverence for the space that you're in, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so it elevates the entire sort of transactional conversation, right?
Exactly. You might be like, the food was eh, But man, when I tell you how they treated me was so
Yes.
cool. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna try something else on the menu, and and then maybe it becomes just your drink spot because we have places we go that we're like the food is, but we love the people that work there. So my
Yes.
partner and I, we just go and we're like, he's like, drinks there? Yeah, we're gonna go get a drink there.
And that's and there's nothing like, even if they don't remember you, right? Like, I don't have the best memory for names. It's not anybody's fault other than the way my brain works. I'm gonna post this. I'm just gonna pin the
Oh
picture.
yes,
And but like, I've been to places where I can tell the person has forgotten, but they recall me. And even
right.
still, just being like, "Hey, how are you? It's been a while since I saw you." Just just those little things, because at the end of the day, and I've
Yes.
said this in other wind downs,
Mm-hmm.
we all just want to be seen. We honestly just want to be seen. And it's not even a vanity metric. It's truly a thing that we are born with. When we're babies, we want to be seen. Peekaboo is no,
Yes.
not because I can see you, but because you can see me. Um, and and being using hospitality as a means to see people, and service, not serve, but service their
Right. In
needs,
service. Right.
is just a magical way to build a brand and to build. I love that. So tell us more. Okay, so tell us more about your wines, and then tell us a little bit about some of your favorite places to go in the world for wine. And it can be
Okay.
local or whatever, but like, I would love to get. I need to know where to get booze when I travel. That's really what I'm
Okay.
asking. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me first say I've been following your story for a long time. So like this is like I'm in my own like fan moment here. Like so I followed your story. I've seen you pitch. I've watched the videos. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, this is not, oh, this is the same person. So yeah,
Yeah.
I have to just get that out of the way because I'm a fan
You're so
and I've
sweet.
watched you just grow and build. And I just want to tell you that your tenacity, your perseverance, your grit, and you're just like, I got this and I'm going to do this no matter what other people say. You inspire me, and I remember that when I want to keep going. So I just need to like give you that. I give you those flowers right now.
Thank
So
you.
okay, so I did that. I was like, I gotta say this. I'm
Y'all,
like,
my
yes,
eyeballs are sweating. Why my
yeah.
eyeballs sweating like
I
that?
know. It's like So we make vegan wine. So we make 7 wines year round. So we have everything from Riesling to a dry red blend. So we just make this. I know I know I'm the girl fan club. I know it's like
Kim
there's more of
stays pumping me
us.
up. I love it. I love it.
Okay, so there's more of us. But yeah, so
Thank you.
we make 7 different wines year round. We just introduced what I'm drinking tonight is our culture cans. So I'm
Oh,
drinking our royalty rosé.
okay.
So we just introduced canned wine, and we
Mm.
did that on Juneteenth. So we introduced that. It's been going really well. Um, we just started from like a real small kind of, I want to make wine. I like to drink wine. My children sent me to a wine class. At that particular time, they were too young to even drink wine. Now they're college graduates and they can drink.
Yeah.
And so we just started making wine. We made our sangria all the time. And thank you,
Ooh.
Kim, for the happy birthday wish.
It's your
We made
birthday.
sangria all the time. And then we've just expanded. So now we make 4 culture cans, 7 wines year round.
Ooh.
We got a couple other fun things coming, in our toolbox. But I love wine. And so now when I travel, I always go to a good wine bar. So my favorite place so I'm from South Jersey. My mom's from Harlem. And so I love to go to Harlem. I always go whenever I'm in the city. I always go to Harlem. I always take my mom, her obligatory picture, on Malcolm X Boulevard, and I send it to her. But I grew up going to Sylvia's Soul Food, the original one, y'all, not the one in Atlanta, but the
The
real
real one.
one that's in Harlem, y'all,
That's what's up.
with the real Sylvia in the kitchen.
What?
So I grew up,
Yeah.
you know, in New York. So that is in South Bronx. So that's probably my favorite place to visit. And so now, with the advent of, us, coming into the wine space and beginning to take over, Happy Cork Brooklyn's got to be like hands down the best black wine shop, I would say probably in the world because
Happy Cork.
they hold it down. They sell everything now, y'all. They sell if you want some Henny, if you want, your Grey Goose, they got all that. But they carry the most black wine and spirits in the country that I know of.
Ooh.
So amazing place to go
Court?
visit. And, you can kind of go in and you can hang out. So that's a good one. When I go out west on the West Coast, I'm always going to hang out with my friend, Queen Fern with Black Vines. We're going to kick it. And we're just going to go everywhere. My friend Cherry and Marcy, we're just going to go kick it. They took me, I can't remember the name of the place, but it's right on the bay in Oakland. And it had, they said bottomless mimosas. I was like, let's go.
Oh, Jack London Square.
Yes, Jack London Square. Yes. And so you already know. So that's my favorite place in the Bay to go. My new favorite spot, it's down the street from me, Cincinnati, Nostalgia Wine and Jazz Lounge, owned by a sister. It's amazing. It's like jazz. They have some DJs that come in, and the DJ is phenomenal. And you want to talk about tipping, that just makes you want to just throw all your coins to them. And then they have no food, but you can order from restaurants.
Yeah.
They let you know which ones, will come in. And they have just a great, so they carry a lot of black owned spirits and wine too, but just the hospitality. Now that's the hospitality and the music and the artist. So I took my family to brunch there. We had an amazing time. We'll be back. So I'm trying to think. So that's probably my favorite place. Oh, I went to graduate school in Louisville. So 4th Street Live is always going to have a special affinity in my heart, because I spent a lot of time 4th Street Live drinking. Yeah, that's what graduate school's for.
I'm taking notes.
And undergrad too. So if your children are going to college in August, y'all, parents, have a moment to remember when you were young. Just hold that in your presence of spirit, and just know that your children are going to do some things. You want to send them with please don't go to jail and don't get pregnant or get somebody's daughter pregnant. Other than that, it's like, that's what college is for. It's the time to just do some really dumb stuff. It just is. I know. I'm that auntie, y'all. I'm like, yo, this is what we gonna do. We're gonna do this. So. So yeah, I like to travel. St. Croix, St. Croix and Puerto Rico, probably my tie for just really a good, easy, quick getaway that's really inexpensive. You can spend less than $1,000. You can get your flight, your hotel, you're all inclusive, and for like a week, you can just get away. Okay. So that's like my favorite, I would say, domestic. I do not do Mexico, y'all. I just feel like they're gonna steal me.
You're too cute. You can't be down there. They will snap you.
I don't know. I said I'm too short. I'm too petite. I just feel they're gonna take me. So I just don't go. I don't go to Mexico. All my friends are going to Mexico. I'm not going to Mexico. I just feel like I don't
want to get taken, y'all.
It's just not my place. It looks pretty when y'all go, and I love to see all my people's pictures. Everybody's going to Cabo and stuff, but I'm like, nope. My next overseas adventure, like I said, is South Africa. That's where I want to go. That's my next.
Stellenbosch, wine country.
Stellenbosch, a wine country. I have a friend over there, Queen Sis Tuani Price. She spends half the time in LA, half the time in South Africa, but now she's been over there since COVID. She went pre-COVID, and then she hadn't been able to come back. But so she's super entrenched in the entire South African wine culture, specifically the black wine culture.
Yeah,
so I cannot wait.
Right? Like it's
a
lot of people who have come up as vintners for white owned or Dutch owned or African.
Yes,
and there's very few that have their own sort of wineries.
There's a handful, but see, we forget that because it's just like I tell people. When the restaurants industry started, it was Big Mama and them in the kitchen. So it's just like that whole South African wine culture is built on the backs of black and brown people.
Yeah.
So they're, making the wine. Maybe the head winemaker probably, is not melanated, but the people doing the cellar work, probably the assistant winemaker, the person who's learned and paid attention, who could make it in their sleep. They all are brown. And so we forget that, you know, and even the world, because the world says South Africa is New World wine. And so there's like New World, Old World. Who had wine first? Y'all, South Africa's always going to be Old World to me, because wouldn't none of us be here if it wasn't for Mother Africa. So I'm always like, that was it. It was just that we had, you know, apartheid, you had all of the everything going on where they wouldn't let the wine come out of the country. So all the sanctions, but they've been making wine. I mean, South Africa, and their wine is amazing. So if you can get your hands on some South African wine, go to your favorite wherever you buy wine and get it. Pinotage is forever my love. So if anybody knows anybody that's a farmer that has some Cinsault grapes, somebody inbox me, Nicole Kearney. I'm at my name, and I'm also at Sip and Share Wines. I am diligently trying to get my hands on some Cinsault grapes. If y'all can help me find some Cinsault grapes that I can get in the United States or even Mexico, that'll only be the only reason I go to Mexico, y'all. That's the only reason I'm going to Mexico, is pick up some grapes. But I'm trying to get my hand on some so I can create an American, you know, blend, red blend, because Pinotage is specific to the continent, but I would like to make that. So yeah, that's like one of my holy grail items to make that I'm hoping. I'm hoping in the next 2 years.
I love that. And I love this idea of coming up with your own American blend, because I think we kind of poo-poo on American wines. And I mean, some places we got reason, but
right.
I mean, we have an amazing country with beautiful terrain and a lot of different terroir, as they, you know. And you know, given the resources and the gumption to do it, some really beautiful wines can come out of the country. You know, I loved this. I loved the story of Pinotage. When I went, God, it's been like 12 years now. 12 years ago, I went to South Africa, and I went to Nelson's Creek Winery, and they told us sort of the history of the Pinotage and how the grape was brought in, and it was put on this mountainside, and the mixture of the type of minerality of the dirt plus the breeze. I mean, it's insane. It's literally snowflake creation when it comes to these wines. And so, and it's so distinctive, you know, even if you're just like casual rosé, you can tell the difference between rosés. You can go, okay, that one was a little bit sweeter, that one's a little more bitter. This one smells like fruit when I go to drink it or guzzle it. I mean, do what you got to do, girl.
Right. But it's true.
But all of those things come from not only the processing, but like the grape itself, which is absolutely fascinating to me. I love that.
So that's why I love wine, because like you said, you can also drink wine and transport yourself all over the world. So you can be like, oh, like you said, a rosé. Some people are like, I only like it sweet. I like it this way. And that's great. But I could do a good off-dry rosé. I like a really good rosé. It's from Provence in France. But y'all, they sell it at Aldi, and it's like $9. You know, and it's like a 90-point, but it's a 90-point rosé. People stand in line when they release it in the spring. I mean, people stand in line. They had to go to like only one bottle per person. This was pre-COVID, y'all. Woo! This was like one bottle. So it sells out, and it's amazing. It's so good. I waited for my entire family to leave one day, and they left, and I went and opened the bottle, and I drank the entire bottle myself. They came back salt. They were like, we've been waiting for what? For what?
You missed the
Not
party.
this.
Party's gone. Party's gone.
It's gone. So I was like, no. So they're like, you got to buy another one. I was like, I got to go find another one. So, you know, because it's one of those things, it's harder to find. You know, it's imported. So, but those are things like I like a good. I like France. I like champagne. And then South Africa. So, you know, that's my thing. France, then South Africa. So I've got probably. Our COVID hobby was we drank through what my partner called the wine museum, which I say is a wine collection. He called it the wine museum, y'all.
I'm not mad at it.
And so, hey, Queen Sis Chocolate Bunny, I see you. So I got a Corvin, yeah. So it's like it's a needle, it's a wine self-preservation system, y'all. So I got one of those, and so we just kind of started going through a lot of the wine we had that we hadn't opened, because I'm always like, can't drink that, don't drink that.
Yeah.
No, don't drink that one. But COVID taught us drink everything.
Right. But
and
save
we
a little
drank
just
through.
in case, because y'all, if y'all aren't familiar with the system, it's basically a hypodermic needle for wine.
Yes.
So that
That's the best way to explain it.
Reseal itself, and you haven't ruined the wine, so you can just.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's like a thing.
Since I'm in my office, yeah. Hold on. I just looked down at the floor. I was like, because I'm in my office. So this is what it looks like. This is the needle, and this needle. So this holds the bottle in place, and then the needle goes down, and then you just tip it and click the button and tip it, and it pours the wine. It replaces it with argon gas, and then, like you said, the cork reseals itself. And you can do synthetic corks, but you gotta like put wax or something over top to seal the cork back, and it kind of wears the needle out over time. But I tell people, if you drink wine and you really, that's like that thing to gift yourself, or put it, put on your Christmas list, or moms put it, on your Mother's Day list. Like, that's the thing to guilt your children into buying you. It can run from $100 to $300, depending upon the model. You can get an older model.
Amazon Prime
it does
Day.
The job. There you go. Amazon Prime Day. You should get it. So I got my first one. That's my second one. And that was, both of them were gift. But my children and my brother, they got me the first one because I was like, this would be really great for me. And then the second one I was supposed to take to the winery. Y'all, it ain't left the house. They both at the house. So one's in my office and one's outside that, everyone else uses. I use the newer one. But it was just a great gift. But we got to go through so much good wine that, stuff that we had bought from Black producers that we were like, oh, we're going to hold on to this. Stuff that I had got that was like, oh, this is like, I got a bottle of this 2013 Cabernet Sauvignon that I was gifted. And I've never tasted it. And I was like, man, I'm going to keep it. And, I was like, oh, I'll open it when my children graduate. And that happened and I didn't. And, high school. And then it was like, oh, when they college, and I didn't. So now I was like, oh, I can open that, and I can just see what it tastes like and then put it back. So grab one of those for you if you really, really, really like drinking wine. Yeah.
So the two things that I would recommend, especially if you're traveling to taste wine, one is get a wine rollerboard case, which is basically like a big soft case. Typically, there's I don't know exactly what the size is. I should know this off the top of my head, but there's a pretty standard size for a case of wine. It's usually square. You can stop at any like boxing location and get one in the place that you're, any mail location, they should have a custom box.
They do.
That box will fit into this shell. It's just like it's sort of like a rollerboard cover, but it has a little more padding, and it has wheels, and it has a handle. So that's the first thing. And you can check it. So you just check all those bottles. So you can have,
check all your bottles.
Check all those bottles.
And now I think they still do it. American Airlines lets you fly wine back from California for free.
Boom. I did not know that.
So, so that's like one of those things like I love, like, but now my wine mentor, I was going to buy the suitcase, but here's what she gave me. I went to Goodwill and I bought a standard size rolling suitcase, and then I went and bought the foam. And I laid the foam down, and you can glue it in if that's what only thing you're going to do with the suitcase. Glue the foam down. Yep. And then put all the wine and then put it in. And she was like, you can do that. And I was like, and she was like, so you can get the same suitcase for like, the whole thing could probably cost you less than $20. So I was like, boom. Oh, and then you can buy the hard one. So I bought a hard suitcase from my Goodwill for like $4, and then did that. And so that's like my wine travel suitcase. And it, so I put all the stuff in there. And then if you really need to get creative and you go and you didn't buy the suitcase because you didn't listen, y'all don't want to listen because you're hard at it sometimes. Then you need to just be wrapping it in all your dirty clothes. All the bottles, wrap it in your dirty clothes.
Right.
And then fly it on back. Take a couple of them hotel towels.
But be willing, because if one of those bottles breaks, this like the worst Like your heart hurts. I've done that with like really nice whiskeys before, where I'm like, I'm
Oh,
bringing this whiskey
yes.
home, and then I basically had a whiskey soaked towel, and I was like, do I wring? No, I can't bring the towel out, Lord. Uh,
I am. I'm gonna be in the bathroom.
hey,
You know, we ain't gonna tell, but you got it because you got it. It was so good. You got to get a little bit of it.
just a little bit, just a little bit. But
Just a
I
little bit.
love this idea of either creating or buying the wine suitcase. I love the creating one because I
Yeah.
mean, boom. I mean, even if you want to be like a little bougie and go to TJ Maxx, they have some cheap
Yeah.
hard
Yeah, they have some
tops.
really good ones.
And that plus being able to taste your wine and seal that sucker back up and then
Right.
take it with you. So you can actually, like, I always have the dilemma when I travel. I don't want to say always. Most of the time, let's be honest. If I get a bottle of wine and it's just me in a room, I'm, at a
Right.
hotel or something, I'm like, I can't, I mean, I could drink this whole thing, but I don't want a headache flying back or whatever it might
Right.
be. But to be able to kind of tap it and then just go ahead and put it in his bag and let it do what it do, shoot, I be having flights all the time. Flights
See,
before my
and that's
flights.
the thing, because and then if you get so a lot of people, they probably know because they follow you, but the little shots, they're not wine, but you could, I mean, if you get creative, you can replace them with wine, but you can take 10 per person on a plane. So, I mean, you could open them and replace them. I tell people put like a little fingernail polish or something to reseal them because they're supposed to be sealed. But I put mine in a plastic bag anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just put them through like with your carry-on. So, I mean, you could do that in 10 different wines.
Boom, boom. Or if you're flying international, just drink all the ones they bring you. Because
Yes.
I'm a fan of getting my tickets worth.
all of right. In international flight, yeah, all of they bringing it. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, I don't care.
please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I'm gonna wake up out my sleep. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I leave
You just put a little sign that says "Leave it here."
I love the little bottles of champagne. That's like, yay, baby.
Yes.
Little prosecco bottles, little cava bottles.
Those are amazing, and they just bring them. You just be like, sit them all here. I'll get them when I wake up.
Right. I wake up. I can sense when they're coming. I'll be out cold.
Me too.
And then I'll be like,
right, right. You're like, they're coming. Beverages are coming. Adult beverages.
Don't pass me with the cart. Come on back over
right.
here. What you got?
I need that.
What you got?
So so that's me. Yeah, international flights are the best, and they actually have the best wine and spirits on international flights. Domestic flights are getting better, but yeah, like people like when I go, I'm like, let me see the wine list. They're like, just buy some. So I usually end up tequila is my other go-to. I usually end up with tequila and pineapple juice or tequila and cranberry juice or something. But yeah, that's gonna be my other go-to because I'm usually like, oh, y'all wine selection is like
Is abysmal.
But Brown Estate is on, I think, Delta.
Really?
I think Delta flights.
Okay,
yes,
Brown
they picked them up Delta, before
so
COVID.
Delta.
Yeah, so fly Delta, and they have an Atlanta hub. So if you're going to Atlanta, jump on the Delta, get you a bottle of Brown Estates. So drink black while you're flying, Yes, it's always about where can you go and get your black fix.
Turn it to soul playing. Like, that's basically soul playing.
Now, we did that on our trip to Vegas in 2005.
I've heard that several times from different people that it's basically soul playing flying out to Vegas from like New York and ATL.
Oh, if you're going and then don't let your flight be delayed leaving. If you are leaving Vegas and coming back and your flight's delayed, everybody's at the bar. Everybody's drinking. Because, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you already ate. You did all the stuff you were going to do before your flight. And, like, we always take the late, like, 8, 9 o'clock flight. So now they're telling you you're not going to be leaving till midnight. So you're like, you were prepared to get on the plane and go to sleep. You're like, I'm going to sleep back on my ride. So now you're like, I'm up. I can't sleep. So you drink. It's always a good, I know, I've always feel like in my heart that, folks who work on the airline, the flight attendants, they're a special kind of angel because I know, especially if you work that Vegas thing, folks leaving Vegas, that first hour until they can get everybody to go to sleep, that's just got to be a thing. They just like, they want to cut us. They want to cut us. I will
keep the source anonymous, but I remember hearing a story where several friends were coming back from Vegas, and one of those friends was so trashed that they went to sleep under the counter at the at the gate. So it was like, Oh, we waiting. The flight's gonna be late.
Right.
I mean, you know what happens in Vegas sometimes ends up on people's IG Live. But yes.
My friend and I, like, I'm gonna tell my friends, we went. One of my friends lost her license, so she had to like finesse all this to get on the plane. So me and another friend, we had been drinking because again our flight was delayed, and so we were just joking. Oh, we've been drinking. We kind of popped. Blah blah blah. They were not gonna let us on the plane. She leaves. Now this is her best friend. She leaves and she was like, "Look, I got on the plane. I don't have a license. My stuff is gone. I got to get home." And I was like, "Well, if they don't let us on the plane, what we gonna do?" He said, "We gonna drink some more and get a hotel room." I was like, "That's the plan." Okay. So, but they let us on. But at first of all, I was like, we were like, the people working there were like, "Y'all ear hustling. This is a private conversation." I'm like, "How you feel? 3 drinks, you good?" And good. Yeah, he's like, "I feel good. Kind of buzzed." I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." Y'all are in our whole conversation. Like they were like, "Well, you can't get on the plane, ma'am. This is Vegas. That's a lie. That's a lie from the pit of hell. I know y'all let drunk people on this plane. We weren't even drunk." And I know y'all let crazy drunk people because y'all want them to get the hell out the airport.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah. So Vegas is like, I got a love-hate relationship with Vegas. So
Don't we
go
all? We got
to
that
National Harbor in Maryland, y'all. They got casinos now, Maryland. Go to National Harbor. Go down to Memphis, go to Memphis in May and hang out. I think they got a new casino somewhere in I heard, or it's supposed to be coming to Memphis. So y'all get out the house. I mean, even, before COVID, get out the house. Cause some of y'all, I live in Indianapolis and I know people who've never been to any place but like Kings Island, which is like 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
I know people who've never been to Chicago and it's roughly 3 hours north of us.
Chicago's
and I'm
super
like, are
close.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you should go there. And so people, but that's like, I mean, and I also have to go, I have to come for New Yorkers too, because I know some people who've never been off the island of Manhattan.
Oh, yeah. Or
They're
off
just
of Long
like,
Island.
why?
It's like,
Yeah. They're like, why? I'm like, because there's other people on other islands. Like,
there's
you should
wine
maybe.
country up at the Finger Lakes. Now, it's a little
Yeah,
jammy. I'm not going to lie. It's a little sweet. It's a little jammy up there.
it is. It is.
But if you're like, I've never been to a vineyard, you could legit just drive up to the Finger Lakes. All you need is like, a tank of gas there, a tank of gas back.
That's it. Delaware's got some wineries going now.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
do.
I know. But I mean,
they got
got
there,
some.
so I can say that. I can give the ooh. But
They got a few, or just go a little further, go down to Maryland. Maryland's got great wine country. Hit Virginia. I heard Connecticut's trying to do something. I don't know. I don't know how good it is, but there's wine country everywhere now.
Just trying it. Just make sure you take your Pepto before you get started, just in case. So them tannins are high and
lots of water.
And lots of water.
And lots of water, because and it's okay to pour it out, y'all. I know many of us believe in no alcohol abuse, but sometimes y'all gotta pour stuff out and just let it go. Just let it go.
Let it go.
Because I'm not gonna hurt my stomach. Like if my stomach, I feel it, I'm like, I'm sorry, this is not the wine for me.
We gotta start over. We gotta start something different. It's all good.
But people will keep drinking it.
Right, and it's just going back to the earth. You're not doing nothing bad. You're not throwing plastic out your car window. You just giving the wine back. You're pouring one for your homies.
There you go. That's how we think. Give it to the ancestors, y'all.
Pour one for the homies.
To the ancestors.
I love that.
So what are you drinking?
So this is actually really funny. I'm having a canned wine right now because I'm trying to get my keto life together, but I need to get your wines. But this is called Bev. And it's a low, and I was going to ask, do you have any zero sugar wines? Because I will totally take a black-owned zero sugar wine. But the whole thing is, it's maybe 2 net carbs. It's 11.9% ABV.
Right.
And you get a case of like 4 of these, or, a little case of 4 of these.
The 4-pack.
Yeah, it's a 4-pack, and it's basically the equivalent of a bottle and a third. So I'm like, put it in a pretty glass and pretend like that came out of the bottle.
And that's, excuse me, ours is like 2 glasses in a can. And so basically a 4-pack, same thing. You end up with a bottle.
Love it.
Or you actually 2 bottles when you get the 4. No, we don't. We've been experimenting and talking about trying to do, because we don't add any sugar. So ours are just the sugar that is naturally in it. We try to do the least intervention. So I believe this is my philosophy. A lot of times we're going to lower the sugar and do these things. There's a little bit more manipulation that has to happen in order to lower the sugar. You've got to do something else to balance it, because that's just the natural sugar. It's like the grapes, they have sugar in them.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are you doing? You and all of those things. The thing is, wine doesn't have any ingredient label.
Yeah.
So the wine industry has just made sure of that. But if you're going to start saying it's got zero this or low sugar, now they're saying you actually have to go get the whole
the FDA
I call it the table
fact.
of contents.
Yeah,
but you have to do the nutrition facts.
Yeah.
So I just always wonder, because like I said, we make vegan wine. So it's always like, okay, you're making it and it's low sugar, but if it's not vegan, then you're using animal byproducts. So you're giving someone milk, possibly a milk protein. You could be giving them egg whites. You could be giving them fish bladder. You could be giving them pork gelatin. So all of those things could be used to clear it.
This to us. Why
okay, so when you
hooves and eggs on
yes, you got all these things. So wine. So you think about it, we got farms, vineyards, farms, and so a lot of people have chickens. So what they found out is that when you have the egg whites, you put it in there to clear your wine. So now we're talking about this wine, it's all pretty, it's clear, we can see through it. So that process is a lot of places use, like I said, they use egg whites, and I think it clears it in like 4 hours. Or they could use a liquefied pork gelatin, or a liquefied let's call it like a casein, and it has crustaceans in it.
Gotcha.
Or it could have a fish bladder, that they're using to just clear this product out. So we use clay. And so for us, we're always like, no, we're not. We're going to have the sugar we have in it. And most of our stuff is low residual sugar, but we don't have all these other things. So a lot of people are like, oh, I had a hangover, or I had this, from wine. And they're always like, oh, it's because the sulfite. The sulfites in wine is so nominal. Most things people eat, if you eat Pop-Tarts or anything else, it has more sulfites than wine. So it's typically something else that you don't know unless you go and read, you're going to actually go to the website and read. So it could be you have a seafood allergy.
Ooh.
And it could just be that process that was used. They clear it through, and it's not necessarily in there, but my friend uses an analogy. If you put sugar in the Kool-Aid and it drops to the bottom, and you stir it in, but if it wasn't warm, it's going to drop back to the bottom, and then you can strain it out. But is there still sugar in the new batch? So when you look at that, it's like, well, some of that could be just messing with your allergies, and so I tell people that. So it's like, you got to think about that. Like, I don't eat pork. I haven't had pork in 35 years. So I'm very mindful of the producers that I'm going to drink, because it's going to make my stomach hurt. And it took me a minute to figure that out. I was like, oh,
right.
No,
Lord, that's deep.
I don't eat pork. Right. It's like food poisoning for me. Yeah. So when I feel my stomach hurt, and I'm like, or the next day, I'm like, oh, I get up and I'm like, I feel sick. And I might only had, don't y'all judge me for this, but I might have only had a bottle, but I'm like, my stomach hurts. Like you said, now and so I have to go back and be like, look at it. They use animal byproducts. Got it. Should have drank that.
I had no idea.
So yeah.
One, I need vegan wine just because I know what's going into it for the most part.
Yes.
Yeah. And then two, I'm sure it tastes amazing because you guys are filtering with clay. Everything that I've ever seen filtered with clay is just like, I don't know what.
Isn't it?
Clay is magical.
That's what I tell people. It's this indigenous earth that, God gave us, the ancestors, just so much with. And we forgot about it. And now, people have been doing masks, and you can get your whole body wrapped in it.
Baby.
And we didn't believe in it. Right. But it is amazing. And it does. We had a customer when we first started making it. You have some bottles that, when you're bottling, you get to the end and there's a little, residual. And this lady would come up. She's like, I heard you use clay. And I'm like, yeah, we do. She was like, do you have any bottles with any clay in them? We're like, well, we shouldn't. She's like, well, just look. If you see anything, I'll take it. And we were like, okay, I'll go through the bottles. And it might be one or two a little dusty. And we're like, okay. She's like, I want to buy those. And finally, we were like, okay, can you share with us? Well, clay is a diuretic. Didn't know that. And she has clay every morning. She's like, she puts it in her water, and every morning, and a couple times a day, she does that. And I was like, oh, snap. So she's like, well, if you have any, I'll just take it because I can get my wine and get my fix. And I'm like,
Boom.
wow. Like, yes, Stu, the wine guru. Yes, clay is magical. It is, right? He said he loves that. So I'm just telling people that
Yes.
it is one of the just best things, and it doesn't cost any more. Clay, you can buy it like huge amounts. So I tell people, having a vegan wine is just it's better for you. It's better for other people. I'm a pescatarian at this point in my life, but I used to be vegan. I used to be a vegetarian, and I just want to drink better, and I want us to drink better. If we're gonna
Yes.
drink, because we're gonna drink, yeah, we're gonna drink. We just gonna
And
drink.
you might as well know what's going into it. Like for me,
Yes.
I think a lot of the benefit of some of the healthier trends that have happened is that we get more food transparency from them. So
Yes.
even though I may not necessarily be like, I'm gluten free, if it's a gluten free beer, I mean, I know what's in it. Like, and if it tastes like beer and I like it, then we good. I don't know.
Yingling, gluten-free, vegan, and they just introduced the light version. So I can't wait to get my hands on the
Really?
light version.
I've
But that's
not.
like
Oh, I
that's my
have to
beer,
go get it.
y'all.
I can't get Yingling out here. I'm too far west, but
What?
yeah, I can get it when I go to Chicago, though. I can get it when I go to Chicago.
Oh yeah, because it is the East.
Yeah, it's an East Coast beer, but
It
Yingling
is
Light. Don't tell
yeah.
me that. I will ship some to myself.
They just put it out, like 99 calories.
Son, what's it
I
at?
just saw it, so I'm like, I haven't gotten my hands on one, but that's like my next like thing. So I do like a Blue Moon, but I like a Yingling. It's just I grew up in Germany, y'all, so I really, really like beer. I gotta like I'm an
Oh,
odd woman, but I have an affinity for beer, so I drink a lot of good beer.
so
Yeah.
so I really want to go to Oktoberfest, which for those of you that don't know, it's actually in
Yes.
September.
I know. In most places it is.
Yeah, it's like, but if you find it October, I girl, we can have a whole other discussion. You got to come back. You got to come back, and we got to
Okay.
talk about Germany and beer
Yes.
and your experiences
Okay.
there. But this has been so dope. Traveling back and
Yes,
saying,
thank
yeah,
you.
me too. This has been so dope talking to you.
It has
I
been.
mean, cool auntie all the
Yeah.
way. Cheers.
Yes,
And
cheers.
I love the tips that you gave us. I've been taking notes. I'm going to share all of this in the show notes. And this has been an experience, right? And a lot of what you talked about has been domestic places and different spaces where you find, sort of the best things. We don't have to go abroad. We can, and it's a beautiful thing, and I love it.
Yes.
But you can find some incredible things if you're into food, if you're into beverages,
Yes.
right here in the States, and knowing the right people who got it on lock,
Who got it? See? And you got to get your black travel box before you travel, though. Make sure because I heard that y'all got travel size, so you won't be like me trying to fight the lady in JFK, the TSA lady who's going to take your brand new tube of toothpaste.
We don't have our own toothpaste yet, but that's coming. But yeah,
I knew it was.
Catching the case in TSA is not, I don't think, any of our finest moments. And I'm still like, I still get frustrated getting my hair pat down and
yes,
things like that. It's just, and I've had women not of color go, well, I mean, when I have my hair down, and I'm like, I get it. But at the end of the day, we're dealing with, and sorry for the dudes, on a patriarchy, right? Because you're very rarely going to catch a guy who's getting his hair pat down, right? Like, unless
never
he's or something and he has, a covering.
Yes.
On. And so, yeah, we have a lot of cultural learning to do. But in any case, Nicole, you got to come back. You got to come back. We got to talk about Germany and being Black in Germany. And what is, like, I have so many questions. I have so many questions. But right now, tell people where they can find you, they can find your wines, and where can we find that can that you just showed us? Because I'm taking notes.
So, so the culture cans and all of our wine are on SIP, and then it's SIP, and then the word and share wines on our website. We deliver, we ship pretty much everywhere but a couple states. And then we're at Sip and Share Wines on all social media platforms. So follow us around. Check out what we got going on. We got some really cool stuff that we got coming on. I appreciate you, taking the time out of the accelerator. So are you through New Voices? Did you go through the New Voices program?
I did. So I actually did pitch for New Voices a couple years ago. So
I saw that.
Yeah. So with Essence at Essence Fest. So I've been tapping into the New Voices folks, and there's so many programs, and there's so many, and they don't really necessarily have an accelerator, but there's so many programs out there, and it's great, but also, and I love New Voices because they actually give money, right?
They do.
Because I think giving mentorship can only take you so far. I think artisans know their art. I wouldn't necessarily call myself an artisan, but I am a brand strategist, and I did this professionally previously. And it's amazing how many places and spaces people want to mentor me.
Yes.
And I'm like, but 15 years of experience doesn't count. Like, can I just get some cash? But I say all that to
run me my coins. Right. It's like, okay, I'm gonna still call you because I might need some things, but
run me my coins.
That's gonna be our next conversation. Like, Black folks are mentored
to death.
Yeah. Like, and I don't use the word death a lot,
but we are.
In these spaces we are. It's like, just give me the $10,000 that you're going to spend in mentoring me for the year, or the $5,000 value, and then let me show you what I can do with that, because I can take that 5,000, especially we Black, and we can turn that into 20, because we know how to flip it.
Look,
y'all know how to flip.
Look, we have a lot of entrepreneurs coming out of the hood doing stuff that maybe isn't the most legal. But if you really think about it, they have an entrepreneurial skill set. And just because they don't speak the way you do or didn't go to the school that you went to doesn't mean that they're not badass salespeople, product developers, brand positioners. And so there's just so much that I think we undervalue. And I won't say I would say society undervalues in our community because of the translation of it to what is considered mainstream. We wouldn't have a Jay-Z in the way that we have Jay-Z today if he was not a great entrepreneur.
Thank you. Well, you can sell a product to people that you're not even using.
Yes.
And I mean, you're speaking to this value proposition to people. I mean, we can run it all back. It's like you said, it just doesn't sound like the language folks want to hear, but we've been doing it, since the dawn of time. Since the dawn of time.
And you know what the funny thing is, and then I'll close with this. I want to be cognizant of your time. We're gonna be on here an hour, girl. We're having so much fun. But it's very interesting to me. Like, when I got into the quote unquote beauty space, and I started looking at who started these beauty brands, especially makeup, they're all men.
Yes.
And then I go back and I look at consumer goods, and it's like the tampon brands run by men. And now we're talking about it more in the ads and all of that stuff. But I mean, for the last 50, 60, 80 years. And so this idea of keeping people out of the space because they aren't the customer or the consumer, and it's just like, no, it's a skill set. It's a skill set that you can learn. It's a skill set that you can be naturally gifted at. It doesn't matter. It's a skill set. And a skill set is not the cover of the book. It's the reading on the inside.
Thank you. That's a word right there. Come on, that's a word.
You got to come back.
Okay.
Thank you
Anytime.
So much. And thank you to everybody watching. Oh my gosh, I've had such a good time, y'all.
I have too. Again, cheers to the culture. I appreciate you, and I'm sending you just amazing energy to keep going and just keep blowing up. And you are just you are manifesting your highest and best good in everything that you put out there. The ancestors got you, sis.
Look, God is good, ancestors good, all the time. We all just doing the Soul Train line, and I'm here for it.
See, okay, I know we're gonna stop.
We're gonna stop. Thank everybody for joining. This has been Wind Down Wednesday.
Thank you, everyone.
We have had a dope time. If you missed it, if you just came in, I'm about to pop this on IGTV so you can come back and find it. And if you enjoyed yourself, please tell a couple friends. Come hang out with Black Travel Box every Wednesday. We're doing Wind Down Wednesday, and we're cutting up, y'all. So I hope this made your week a little bit better. So if somebody pissed you off on Monday and you were like, "Ugh," You're at Wednesday. It's all down here from here, baby. You good. You good. Just roll into Friday. You can
Good.
do it. I believe in you. Thank you so
Yes.
much, everyone. And thank you for joining.
Thank you, Queen. I appreciate you. Everyone have a good night. Take
Good
care.
night.
All right. Goodbye.